Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to tell you how I save 60% of my income for financial independence. So let's get right into it. So in this video I'm going to give you the lowdown on how I save 60% of my income for financial independence. I'm going to break down exactly how I do it, where the income comes from and what I do with it. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to show you this graphic here. So here you can see exactly how I allocate my income when it comes in. You can see here that I aim to save around 66% of my income each month. So this obviously varies slightly month to month. So for the purposes of this video, I've rounded it down. You can also see the amount of income that I spend on rent, bills, groceries, transport and other expenses. So take a look at that and then you can take that in. So that graphic breaks down exactly how I allocate my income. So next, let's go through how I've got to this stage and how I'm actually able to save 60% or more of my income each month. My number one tip to get you to a place where you can save 60% of your income is to track it. So this may seem really obvious, but it's so important because you really need to know exactly what your income is each month, exactly what your expenses are each month, and then exactly how much you're saving, because you really just need to know where you are before you can actually make some goals and start working towards them. So it's important to find out where you are first by tracking where you are. You can do this by using an app, or if you're anything like me, you might just use a good old-fashioned spreadsheet. So when you track it, you might realise that you could be saving a lot more than you currently are, or you might realise that you actually won't be able to achieve your savings goals on your current income. So the second of these was actually true for me. So when I tracked my expenses, I realised that I wouldn't be able to meet my savings goals on my previous income. So that made me want to change it. So the next thing that I would recommend that you do, if you, like me, want to save 60% of your income, and that is you need to decrease your expenses. So you really need to decrease your minimum necessary spending and get it as low as you possibly can to maximise your savings. So in order to do this, the first thing you need to do is to decrease your bills as much as possible. So I would suggest shopping around for things like your energy bills, your electricity, your gas bills. Shop around for phone bills, shop around for internet. So anything, any bills that you pay on a monthly basis, shop around and try and look for a cheaper price. Also, I would recommend contacting the company that you're with for either of these things, and if you investigate switching, they will often offer you a much cheaper price than what you're already paying, just so that you stay with them. So that's a really good tip. So just give them a call and tell them you're considering switching and see if they can do anything for you. If they can't, or if you can actually find a much cheaper price elsewhere, then I recommend doing this, because this is something that can really make a huge impact on your overall expenses if you can actually decrease your monthly bills. The next thing that you can do if you want to decrease your expenses and thereby increase your savings rate to 60% or more each month, then what I recommend you do next is to keep your discretionary spending low. So this is your spending on wants. So you really need to focus on keeping this as low as you can in order to maximise your savings rates. So if you are really serious about this, then you really want to try and keep your want spending low. You can allocate a portion of your budget to miscellaneous spending or wants, but the reason that I'm able to save as much as I am is because I do keep my discretionary spending low. You will have seen that it didn't really feature much on my tracker, and that's because I keep to a pretty low budget with this. For example, I try not to buy new clothes because I have a wardrobe full of clothes that I actually wear often, so I keep to those and try not to buy any more. If I do need to buy beauty products or toiletry products, I buy those that I absolutely need. So you can take this as far as you want to, but I'm just explaining how I save 60%. But that's not to say that I don't have any discretionary spending. I do have a small portion of my budget each month for want purchases and things that I want to enrich my life. I'm just saying that I do tend to keep this to a pretty low budget. Also, I will add things into my budget if needed, and if anything surprising comes up, then I would also add that in. So, say it's some kind of experience that I really want to do, or some kind of travel that I want to do. So, I do allow myself to do that. It's just I try to keep it as low as possible in my budget each month. The next way that I'm able to keep my expenses low is by keeping my rent low as a proportion of my income. So I know that rent is most people's biggest monthly expense, and it can actually take up quite a large proportion of your budget. The recommended maximum here is actually around 30%. So if you can, it would be great if you can keep your monthly rental budget to about 30% of your income. Mine is about 20%, so that helps me to save as much as possible because my rent is 20% or around 20% of my income. The lowest rent as a proportion of your income is best, but I know it can be difficult if you live in a high cost of living area like I do. So a tip I would recommend is if you can have a flat share or a house share, so sharing a flat or a house with one or more people can really help you with your rental costs. So I actually do that, and that actually helps me to keep my rent low even though I live in a high cost of living area. This is what I do, and it really does cut your rental bill down quite considerably. So I would recommend doing this. It really can cut down the cost of your rent. So I would recommend doing this if you can, and it's another way to get to that ideal 60% or more savings rate each month. This is a really powerful one for me, and as I said, mine is roughly 20% of my income each month, but hopefully as your income increases you can actually reduce that down even more, because it is obviously a necessary expense for everyone, but it's really great if you can get this cost down. So far, we've discussed decreasing your expenses as much as possible, which is really important if you want to get to this 60% savings rate. But another thing you need to do, if you have completely got your expenses down to the bare minimum, then you will realise that actually you can't possibly save any more unless you increase your income. So that can be a sticking point for a lot of people, because you will realise that you just can't, you've just hit the ceiling of where you can save up to if you're on your current income. And that's where I was. So that's when I realised if I wanted to increase my savings rate and get to my savings goals, then I needed to increase my income. Have a think about the best way for you to do this. I'll give you some suggestions. So you could ask for a raise at your current job. You also, if you have your own business, you can brainstorm some ways to increase revenue in your business. Also, if you feel like you've hit the ceiling in terms of income in your job or your business, then perhaps think about another side business or a side hustle that you can do in your spare time that could actually increase your income. What I did here was actually increase my income using a side hustle, and that really supplements my income now. And it's one of the main ways actually, that I'm able to save 60% of my income is because I supplement my income with a side hustle. I think it's important to remember that once you've decreased your expenses as much as you can and you're just paying for the things that you need and some wants, you realise that actually the only way to get to your financial independence goals, to achieve your savings rate goals, is to actually increase your income. So once you've done that, if you do that, then you'll realise that you can actually make your way to financial independence by saving your way there. Something else to remember is that when you actually are successful and you start increasing your income, that you don't submit to lifestyle inflation, you don't start spending more money simply because you have more money. So try and remember if you can, that you're really saving and investing this money so that you can put it towards your financial future. So try not to let lifestyle inflation sort of creep up on you. Try and remember what your goals are and keep those in mind. So there you have it. I've broken down exactly how I save 60% of my income. I've given you some tips and tricks that you can take away and hopefully start to work towards this yourself. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I said that I was going to tell you exactly what I do with the money. Well, this would take a whole video in itself, but I will tell you that I split my money that I save. I actually split this into savings and investing, roughly 1 to 2. So I would say that I save about 1/3 of this money and I invest about 2/3 of this money. So my savings is just in a high yield savings account, and then I invest in an ISA and some other accounts. So that's how I save and invest my money towards financial independence. That's because I really value investing as a way of achieving financial independence. So when throughout this video I referred to savings, I'm just talking about the portion of money that I put away each month, and that money goes towards savings and investing. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you liked it. Comment down below and tell me what you enjoyed about it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.